Well, I think this is the second time in vlog history that we've been here. Virginia City, Nevada. And if you've never been, you gotta come. I mean, there's just nowhere else in the world like it. A town that's just simply been preserved from the 1870s. I mean, it's unbelievable the way that this place holds up and has been preserved and looks so much like it did in the mining days. The Comstock lode was what was going on here. I'm actually here to go do a profile on this place, the Bucket of Blood Saloon. And if there's a greater name for a bar on the face of the earth, I don't know what it is. So I'm not 100% sure how good I'm gonna be able to make this story, but I'm pretty confident. Anyway, we are back, of course, in Northern Nevada after a vlog in Phoenix and a vlog in Los Angeles. Back-to-back trips out of town. And the games of the Peppermill haven't been bad. I got into a situation that I wonder how many of you guys have been in just a few days ago, where I really hated the fact that I had a job. It was one of those, I'm gonna lose the sunglasses. It was one of those where it doesn't happen often, so it's not like I can always expect this, but we had just one of the all-time VIPs sit down in this game. There was one time where I tried to actually bluff him with King High. Yeah, he called me with Queen High. So that was cool. And I turned a pretty big loss into a reasonably sized win with him in the game. I know when I left, there was a pro by the name of Dan that got to take my seat and jump in. He didn't have the job to worry about, so he got to sit in, and I'm guessing he beat this guy out of a lot of money. But you know, you don't get too many opportunities in poker to really play in great games. And when you are in one of those games and you gotta leave to go anchor a show, kinda sucks. Because I don't wanna tell you how much money I get paid to anchor that show, and it's not a lot. So that happened, but you know, again, no regrets. I'm happy with my job, and I'm not just gonna give it up for the possibility of playing in these games on a random basis. All right, speaking of these games, let's get back to it. All right, as you can see, I am not at the Peppermill. Gonna jump in this 11 a.m. start at the Atlantis for several reasons. One of which is it's supposed to absolutely snow here later on today, and I kind of want to get home before it really hits. So I'm gonna start a little early. And you know, the thing with the Atlantis game is you just never know how good it's gonna be. Same for the Peppermill, but this game in particular can be extremely OMC heavy. So you kind of got to deal with that. Got to look to steal some small pots and just wait for the right moments against them. Kind of grind it out. Let's see how it goes here today. Oh, and by the way, I'm planning on making an announcement about my personal life at the end of this vlog. Those of you who are just here for the poker, do me a favor and don't watch that. And I respect the fact that you're just here for the poker, but occasionally I'll work my personal life in as well. The game is nitty as expected. One guy even brought his, quote, service dog with him, though as an aside, Australian Shepherds are great dogs. The first hand I play comes when I pick up pocket 10s under the gun +2. I normally raise 4x +1 for the limper, but given how tight this game is, I only make it 15 because odds go way up that they'll fold for 20. I end up getting 2 callers, so with 45 in, we see a flop of 8-5-5 with 2 diamonds. I bet 25, and both players fold. Shortly after, under the gun +1 raises a 25, and the small blind makes the call, both of which are playing about 400 effective. And if I had my choice of hands to pick up in the big blind, well, I'll be damned, this is the exact one I would have chosen. Crazy, I know. I decided on a sizing of $80 because if +1 folds ace-king here, it's a disaster for me. And like I said, the game was extremely nitty. He does end up making the call, but the small blind doesn't. So with 180 in, it comes 10-8-3 rainbow. I bet $85 hoping that he has queens or jacks, though I never really thought that he would just flat pre with those hands. He does end up folding. It really made me think that slow playing the aces might have been a good play there. About 10 minutes later, we get a limp from +2, and I have ace-king offsuit in the hijack. I raise to 25. Both blinds end up calling, but the limper doesn't. Kind of the opposite of what I expected. So with 75 in, the flop comes ace-king-8 rainbow, giving me top 2 pair. It gets checked to me, and not wanting to get any folds, I decide to down bet here to 30. The small blind calls, and the big blind does fold. So with 135 in, the turn is the 8 of diamonds. The small blind checks, and I bet 75, thinking that he probably has a weak ace here. He goes ahead and makes the call. So with 285 in, we're heads up to a river that comes the 9 of hearts. He checks to me for a third time, and I settle on a value bet of $140. He thinks about it for only a second and lays it down. I don't think that he had an ace given the speed of his fold. A couple hands later, I pick up pocket jacks under the gun +1 and make it 20. The hijack, who is the most active player in the game, though that's not saying much, makes the call. The blinds fold, so with 45 in, it comes queen 10-9, 2 hearts. Now my plan here was to work this flop into my check raising range. But as the ancient Chinese proverb states, you can only check raise when your opponent bets. He doesn't here, so we go to the turn, which comes the 8 of hearts, giving me the straight and backdoor hearts. I bet 30, and he snap folds, unfortunately. I don't get video of a hand where I lost about $100 with pocket 8s against king jack against an OMC. But then a hand took place where under the gun opens to 15 and +1 calls him. The cutoff calls, and I have ace-king on the button. I 3-bet to 75, fully expecting the original raiser to call me. The problem there is I have a winning image, even though I'm only up 200 at this point. And when it comes to image, that's what it's all about, even though it shouldn't be. It's all about winning or losing, not how loose or tight you actually are. Everyone ends up folding, and I take the pot down. I rack up and get out of there, but not before finding out what Mike Postle has been up to lately. Booking a $208 win, which, given the quality of this game, feels like a massive score. So, I ended up hearing from the poker room manager here, and I hope he's not going to get upset that I told this story if he sees this, but it's too good, I have to mention it. Apparently, there was a Mike Postle sighting here just last week. He was in here playing slots, and the poker room manager here heard about that, saw him, and kind of felt, this is not the best look to have him here in the middle of all this. They didn't kick him out, but they removed his offers, which obviously if you're a slot player, you're getting plenty of free rooms, free buffets, and all that stuff. So they took that stuff away. And also, according to him, Mike Postle absolutely loved his offers. So much so that earlier this spring, there was a day where they had given him free rooms or whatever because of his slot play here, that he was staying here, and he actually drove to Sacramento just to play in the live stream. I wonder why. And then drove back here to stay at the Atlantis that night. The funniest thing to me is, not that anyone thinks, obviously, that Postle didn't cheat, but it's like, if this guy was actually a winning poker player, would he really be playing slots ever? I mean, that's just winning poker 101. If you're gonna grind out a profit at poker, you don't play slots. And yet Mike Postle plays them so hard
that they give him whatever he wants, or at least they did, at casinos like this one. So, if you're wondering, has he just been in hiding? Has he been in lockdown? No! Dude still has to get after it on the slots. He can't help himself. He's got to degen it up. Whether it's here in Reno or elsewhere. You're gonna have to make the catch, okay? You gotta make the catch. Catch. Good boy. All right, back here at home, I have one personal life announcement to make on this vlog. So if you're just here for the poker, you can go ahead and check out, and we'll see you back here next time. But I wanted to mention it for those of you who have been with us since the beginning and have followed what's going on with my life. I didn't want to mention it earlier because I knew there'd be a number of OMCs in particular that would be very obnoxious with regards to comments and things that I didn't want to have to address. But the announcement is, and I believe maybe I'm the first vlogger ever to make this announcement in the poker world. I'm not sure, but the announcement is my wife Debbie and I are going to be parents coming up in late January. So very exciting. We're gonna give birth to a son, and definitely a once-in-a-lifetime experience for me. And if you're asking me how I feel leading up to it, well, I'm terrified. That's just the reality. But my wife certainly isn't, and she wants nothing more than to be a mother, and she's made that clear, and this will be the one and only time that we do this, so definitely exciting, but daunting at the same time. If you do see me at the table, do me a favor and just don't mention this if you could. I'd prefer not to have to talk about it at the poker table, but just for those of you who are watching, thought you should know. And just so you know that I'm not making this up. Not that you would think that I would be, but as you can see, room getting set. Since I'm already wearing Niner gear, let's get my Dwight Clark jersey football in the frame for the final shot. That's gonna wrap it up, obviously, for this edition of the vlog. As always, if you enjoy what you see, do me a favor and hit the like and subscribe buttons. In fact, you don't even have to hit the like if you don't want. Just hit the subscribe button. That's the most important one. We'll see you back here next time. Look at this guy, by the way. Just parks his Dodge at the Tesla charging spot. That should be a ticket right there. If there's another Tesla that comes up next to me looking to charge, they will be on tilt, rightfully so.